Welcome into Sports with Balls, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. However you're tuning in or whenever you're tuning in. You're tuning in on Facebook. Thank you. Twitter, thank you. Twitch, thank you. All the other ones we're on. If you're joining the podcast, thank you for tuning in. Today's show should be pretty fun. Pretty interesting show today. Going to get into the games, the NFL games tomorrow. NBA's got some interesting stuff going on that I don't know if we can figure that out, if anybody can figure it out. The in-season tournament, whatever that is, however they're playing it. I don't get it, folks. I've tried to read about it and everything. I still don't get it. The NBA players don't get it. So we'll get into a little bit of that here in a little bit. But welcome on this November the 22nd. I'm Jeff Michael. This is Sports with Balls. Today is Go for a Ride Day. It's beautiful down here. Get out in your car, go for a ride. It's gorgeous. Today is also Drinksgiving. I think everybody knows that. I used to be in the club scene, in the bar scene. Tonight's one of the biggest party nights of the year because everybody's in town visiting relatives, so you get to catch up with old friends. So just be careful. Not only is it the biggest party of the night, it's also the biggest DWI night. So be careful out there. Drinksgiving tonight. What else we got? Love Your Freckles Day. There's a couple of interesting ones. National Jukebox Day. Love that one. I need a jukebox. Anybody out there with a jukebox connection, hook me up. What else? National Tie One On Day. And no, that does not mean what you think it means. Because thinking about drinking, no, it means tie an apron on and cook up something. Now, I don't know why they would have this day before Thanksgiving, considering we all have to cook a ton tomorrow. Well, a lot of us. I'll be cooking tomorrow. Got my mom in town. Should be a fun Thanksgiving. The kids running around, mom's in town, bunch of arguing, bunch of sports. We'll get into it. All you people know what I'm talking about. What do you love about America Day? I tell you what I love about America. That's football. And it will all be on tomorrow. We'll get into that. There's 3 NFL games tomorrow. There's college football this weekend. It's rivalry week. We'll get into that. The show will be off tomorrow. Obviously, it's Thanksgiving, so I won't do one tomorrow morning. Give you guys a little bit of a break. But let's get to it, man. Let's get to it. Welcome into Sports with Balls. Let's go. Today's show brought to you by Christian's Tailgate. Go to christianstailgate.com for a location near you. Unbelievable place to watch sporting events, drink specials. They've got a Buffalo Bills Mafia bar here. They've got Dallas Cowboys bars. They've got all kinds of stuff going on there. They have trivia night. They've got beer pong. They've got award-winning hamburgers. I think they won first place in hamburgers a couple of years in a row. Place is just amazing. Go to christianstailgate.com. Find one near you. Also, modern-homeimprovement.com. My boy Josh Smith over there, 832-930-0156. In fact, they're out fixing one of my fences right now. Unbelievable company, man. Go to modern-homeimprovement.com. $500 off your bathroom or kitchen remodel when you mention Sports with Balls. All right, where are we going first? NFL? Is that what we want to do? Let's get to it. By the way, the NFL upheld the suspension of Kareem Jackson. His appeal failed, so he will stick with his 4-game suspension for his hit on Josh Dobbs this past Sunday. Denver Broncos end up winning that game, but lose their safety in the process. And 4 games, that's a big deal. That is a huge ordeal for Denver. So we'll see how that all plays out with their defense. Look, Denver's in the midst of a 4-game winning streak. They're the talk of the town right now, if you will. I don't think so. I'm going to stick with my guns. I don't think Russell Wilson's out there throwing it out like he's managing the game, but it's not like he's out there doing C.J. Stroud numbers or even Sam Howell, who leads the NFL in passing yards. It's still Russell Wilson, a very shaky thing. But I will tell you this. A Bronco fan out there that's listening, I'll tell you this much. Your boy Sean Payton has, I don't want to say saved his job. It's not like he was going to get fired after the first year anyways, but at least it's manageable now. Because somebody's heads were going to roll if they'd have lost a couple of more games after starting 1-4 or 1-5, whatever it was. Yeah, 1-5. Somebody was about to get fired. I don't know who it was, but it was about to go down. If they had lost one more game and 1-6, I think it would have been a completely different scenario. But they sit at 5-5 now. And look, I think everybody's eating a happier Thanksgiving in Denver. Nobody's fired. Offensive coordinators, like we saw yesterday in Pittsburgh, got fired. Was that his fault? I don't know. But somebody would have been fired in Denver for sure. Russell Wilson, I don't know. Like, it's not a rejuvenated Russell Wilson. It's not like I think people are jumping to that fast conclusion that Russell Wilson's back. Slow down. Slow down. I think they play the Browns this weekend, and we're really going to see what Russell's about then. Yeah, it's in Denver. The 7-3 Browns are in Denver. Denver's favored by 2.5. Whoa. I get it. You got a rookie quarterback in Cleveland. This is a winnable game for Denver. But I think it's also a very sneaky game. Try to get into that. If we have a show on Friday, I'll get into that. But there's 3 games tomorrow. Let's talk about them. The Thanksgiving Day games. Absolutely one of the best traditions in the NFL or in sports in general. Thanksgiving Day football. It's phenomenal. John Madden made it famous. And, of course, we know John Madden passing away last year. They'll do another tribute to him this year. The turducken, like all of his famous quotes. I mean, I grew up listening to John Madden on Thursday, calling the Lions game, calling the Cowboys game, whichever it was. You get the turkey legs if you're player of the game. Absolutely amazing. So rest in peace, John Madden. And we'll hear a lot of stories coming from former announcers and players tomorrow throughout the day. 11:30 a.m. first game, Packers at the Lions. The Lions pulling out a great victory this past weekend, 4 days ago. This is the problem with these games is some of these teams played 4 days ago. Like 4 days ago. Detroit had a hell of a game. They had to come back, but they won. And they are favored by 7.5 over the Green Bay Packers, who also won last week. And Jordan Love looked good against the Chargers. He looked really good. But then again, it was the Chargers, and we don't know where the Chargers are right now, man. A lot of people calling for a head coach to be fired over there, but we'll see. 46.5 is the over-under. Look, I took the team total for the Lions. If it's 28 again, I'll probably take the team total for the Lions again. I get it. It's on 4 days. And man, the Packers played 2 though. Man, that's a tough line. That is a tough line. I kind of want to lean Packers plus 7.5, but I also kind of want to lean Lions. We'll see. Maybe I'll put some lines out tomorrow. Go to Sports with Balls on all your social media outlets. Get into some good debates with some people. Post some great things up there. Good debatable subjects. Keep up with all the news that's breaking. I try to get it as fast as possible and reliable. I hate fake news. So right now, I would look at the team total for the Lions tomorrow as far as gambling is concerned. If it's 28.5, I would take it. They're at home. Maybe it's 29. I'll have to see. Next game is at 3:30, the Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys. Had the Dallas Cowboys, what have they played? One meaningful game in like the last 7-8 games? Like, my goodness, man. It seems like they had the easiest schedule possible. The 2 hardest games, the 2 tough games that they have played, they've gotten whooped. The 49ers whooped them 42-10 6 weeks ago. And then, of course, the Eagles just beat them 3 weeks ago, 28-23. They beat the Panthers, beat the Giants, they beat the Rams, they beat the Chargers, they beat the Patriots, they beat the Jets, and they beat the Giants. Folks, that's not all. Look, I get it. You got to win the games you're supposed to win. But listen to those teams again that they beat the Dallas Cowboys. Giants and Jets, okay. Patriots, okay. Chargers, Rams, Giants, Panthers. Those are all way under 500 teams. The bottom of the barrel teams in the NFL. All of them. They should win those games, and they did. But when they've played decent teams, by the way, that loss to the Cardinals, that was a rough one in week 3. They lost to the 49ers 42-10, got blown out, and then they just lost to the Eagles 28-23. They haven't played a meaningful game, and they won't. They got the Commanders tomorrow. They should blow the Commanders out of the water. That should be an easy game again. Then they have the Seahawks. Seahawks are beat up. We'll see what happens in that game. But then they play the Eagles, the Bills, the Dolphins, and the Lions. Now that finally is a 4-game stretch. The Cowboys will have to man up and see what they're about on that one. That's going to be interesting. A couple of primetime games in there too. So take it easy, Cowboy fan, on this is our year. Take it easy. I do like the Cowboys minus 10.5 tomorrow, though. Dak Prescott seems to be rolling right now. That offense seems to be clicking. Cowboys minus 10, minus 11. It just moved to minus 11. That means a lot of people are jumping on these Cowboys. I don't know, man. I feel like that's a trap game a little bit now that I think about it. Sam Howell and Washington plays pretty good. And look, it's a rivalry game. The Cowboys and Commanders is a rivalry game. Cowboys been rolling lately. I understand that. Sam Howell, though, leads the NFL in passing yards. I may just take the Commanders plus the 11. Ooh, man. Good lines. Really good lines. Man, now that I look at it, I may take Washington plus the 11. I may do that. I think they're going to give the Cowboys a pretty good game. And look, they may cover in a late touchdown. Cowboys may be up 14, and then they get Commanders kick a late field goal to push it, and or a late touchdown to take it over. I may take Commanders plus 11 in that game tomorrow. The night game, so you got the 11:30 Packers at Lions, 3:30 Commanders at the Cowboys. Night game's a good one. Night game, San Francisco at Seattle. One of the loudest stadiums in the NFL, if not all of sports. 12th man, if you will. Sorry, A&M. Which one of those stadiums is the creator of the 12th man? Is it Texas A&M or is it Seattle Seahawks? I gotta think maybe Texas A&M. Wasn't there a lawsuit or something or some copyright infringement about that a few years ago? Both of them claim themselves as the 12th man, Seattle Seahawks and Texas A&M. But 49ers roll into Seattle, 7-3 on the season. Seattle 6-4 on the season. San Francisco is favored by 7. I think I like that. I think I really like that. I get it. It's in Seattle. The weather looks to be okay. It's going to be cold. But, man, Brock Purdy and that offense is rolling. I know, look, every team gets a stretch throughout the season where things don't look good. And it happened for the 49ers. Deebo Samuel went down. 49ers kind of crapped the bed for a few games. But, man, they've looked great lately. Seattle's a good team. They're not a great team. Seattle's a good team. It's a good football team. 49ers, that's a great football team. That is a Super Bowl contender. Seattle, not so much. So I like the 49ers minus a touchdown. Give me San Francisco minus a touchdown. I'm going to take San Francisco minus the 7. I'm going to take the Commanders plus the 11 and probably the Lions total. Point total over if it's 28. That's probably going to be my bets tomorrow. If I'm just taking it right now, I'll do my parlay of the day here in a little bit for today. But tomorrow, give me the Lions. If it's 28.5, give me the over for their point total. Give me the Commanders plus the 11, and then San Francisco minus the 7. That seems about right. Top 5, bottom 5. Are we gonna do that now? Your top 5 is pretty easy, man. Philadelphia, number 1. Kansas City, number 2. They should have won that game. You got Miami. I'm sorry. Philadelphia, number 1. This is my top 5. Philadelphia, number 1. Kansas City, number 2. Baltimore Ravens, number 3. Detroit Lions, number 4. And San Francisco 49ers, number 5. Yeah, that's it. Dallas is not in there because of what I just mentioned earlier. Miami's not in there because of what I mentioned earlier. Dallas is beating the games or won the games they need to win. But look at who they beat. It's nobody. I mean, literally the bottom feeders of the NFL. My bottom 5, I'm going to throw them in there. Carolina's the worst team in the NFL. Arizona's right after them at number 4. Chicago, the Giants, and the Titans. There you go. Oh, and the Patriots. The Patriots, the Titans, the Giants, the Panthers, and Cardinals. There's your bottom 5. There's a lot. It's like Tom Brady said yesterday that there's, just a lot of mediocre teams in the NFL, and I've been saying that for about 5 weeks now. If you go through the AFC, there are 3 teams that are legitimate Super Bowl contenders. Miami Dolphins, Baltimore Ravens, Kansas City Chiefs. I'm not throwing Jacksonville in there. I'm not. Everybody else in that entire AFC conference is just mediocre. The Browns, they have no quarterback. The Jacksonville Jaguars, I'm not a believer as of yet. Everybody else is barely above 500 or at 500 or below. Bills, nope. Steelers, nope. Texans, nope. Good story, but not a Super Bowl contender. Denver Broncos, nope. Vegas, no. Chargers, no. Titans, no. Colts, no. Bengals, no. Jets, no. I mean, there's 0 Super Bowl contenders in the AFC aside from those 3, Baltimore, Miami, and Kansas City. That's it. Move to your NFC. Now, that's got some really good football teams in it. You got 5 or 6 teams in the NFC that are good. Philadelphia and Dallas, great Super Bowl contenders. Detroit, Super Bowl contender. San Francisco, Super Bowl contender. All 5 teams, very, very legitimate. So there you go. 8 teams. Biden. And look, I like them. I think the playoffs are going to be a lot of fun. There's going to be a couple sneaky teams in there. Maybe the Texans sneak in there. Good for Houston, but that's not a Super Bowl contender. It'll be great for the city if they can sneak in there. We got a lot of football to play, though. You don't know what's going to happen. Cleveland's sitting at 7-3. Cleveland can sneak in the playoffs. So could Pittsburgh. But they're not Super Bowl contenders, folks. They're not going to last. It'll be fun. Great story. But cream always rises to the top. And you got 3 cream of the crops in the AFC and 5 in the NFC. Those are the games we want to see. Go back to March Madness in the NCAA. You always love to see the Cinderella story. But in the end, you want to see Kentucky and Duke. You want to see Kansas. You want to see the big dogs play in those games. It's a fun story for the Cinderellas for a little bit. But in the end, you love to see the Kansas City-Philadelphia game that we saw this past Monday, which, by the way, had 29 million people watch it. Number 1 rated game, I think, in the last 20 years. That's what ratings don't lie. There you go. All right, that's my NFL segment. Welcome into the show, those that are just tuning in. Look, go to Sports with Balls on all of your social media outlets. Join the conversations. Get in all breaking news and great debates on there. Also, go to Sports with Balls and all your podcast arenas for all the other shows. This is 259. So welcome in. Thanks for tuning in. If you missed anything, like I said, go back to Sports with Balls in any of your podcast arenas. Thank you, Christian's Tailgate. Go to christianstailgate.com. Great food, great venues to watch sports at. And also, modern-homeimprovement.com, 832-930-0156. Mention Sports with Balls. Get $500 off your bathroom and kitchen remodel. We mentioned the NCAA basketball a second ago. And just real quick, those of y'all that are keeping up, I understand that it's very early, but Marquette takes down number 1 Kansas last night in the Maui Invitational. And now Marquette will face number 2 Purdue in the Maui Invitational Championship this afternoon. There is your NCAA basketball news. We're not in March yet. Sorry. I'm gonna wait a while to dip into NCAA basketball. What else did we do? You know what? College football. Let's go to the rankings. Because there is a new contender in the college football rankings, and it is number 4, the Washington Huskies, led by Michael Penix Jr., one of the Heisman Trophy candidates. Washington moves up to number 4. 1 through 3 didn't change. Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan. But Washington moves up to number 4 because they beat Oregon. Oregon State. Was it Oregon? Or I think it was Oregon State, sorry. Let me double check. Oregon State, that's right. 22-20. They were ranked number 11th at the time, this past Saturday. So Washington moves up. Florida State moves down to number 5. And they moved to number 5. They stay undefeated, but honestly, they lost their quarterback, Travis Jordan, or Jordan Travis, for the season, and that's going to hurt. That's going to absolutely crush them. You can bet that Oregon and Texas, if Florida State loses, Oregon and Texas will move up. Florida State faces Florida and then Louisville. I'm going to say that's going to be 2 tough games. So I'm going to look, Texas will move up. They've got to win out to have a shot. You're going to hope for a Washington loss. You're going to get Ohio State or Michigan in a loss because the biggest game of the college football season kicks off at 11 a.m. in 3 days in Michigan, in the big house. Ohio State at Michigan. So one of those teams will have an L. Georgia, look, Georgia's just rolling. Does all this matter? Is Georgia just going to cruise through the championship? Wow. Texas and Oregon and Alabama. Alabama's got to win, hope for a Georgia loss. They got to win the SEC championship. Then they can sneak in there. There's still a road for Alabama. There's still a road for Texas. There's still kind of a road for Oregon. But Ohio State and Michigan control their own destiny. And they still, look, even with a loss, do they still get in? Maybe. It's always controversial. Until next year when we move to an actual playoff system. There's only 4 teams this year. The last year for a 4-team college football playoff. Georgia number 1, Ohio State number 2, Michigan number 3, and of course, like I said, Washington moves up to number 4. Everything else changes, stays the exact same through 10 because there were no upsets. Cannot wait for this weekend rivalry week in the NCAA football. Oh, it's going to be amazing. Ohio State and Michigan, everybody's looking forward to that game. Florida State, Florida, just going to be fun football. All right, what else we got? Parlay of the day. Should we get in the parlay of the day already? Trying to see what else I haven't gone over. NCAA rankings, we got that. The NBA in-season tournament. Look, I'm not. By the way, the NBA, there was a game that was 307 points scored last night in the Pacers game. 307 points, folks. Wow. There's a lot of NBA games tonight. Let's just do the parlay of the day. I wish I had a little music to cue it. I'll get some ready next week. Pacers and Hawks last night, like I said, that's not an overtime game either. 309 points. My Lord. Points by quarter, the Hawks 40, 46, 28, 38. Pacers 34, 39, 46, 38. This is not an overtime game. 307 points. Or 309 points. Wow. Pacers 157, Hawks 152. By the way, if you took my games yesterday, you won 3 of 4 again. So let's do it today. Number 1, speaking of the Indiana Pacers, let's take them. They're minus 3.5 points right now. These are a few chalk bets here. So Pacers minus 3.5 at home, coming off scoring 157 points. I like them. Also like the Oklahoma City Thunder, playing good basketball right now. Minus 6.5 at home. I'll take them as well. There are no college football games tonight, so we're off on that, and no NFL. So those tomorrow. And if you missed my NFL picks, go back to the beginning of the show. So I'll move over to NHL. So we got Pacers and Oklahoma City. And in the NHL, I hardly pick the NHL. I always look at them. But there's some good bets in the NHL. Hurricanes minus 1.5 tonight. I'll take that. And give me the Flyers money line. I'll take that. So everything's a chalk bet except for the Flyers money line. They're playing the Islanders. I'll take the Pacers minus 3.5. The Oklahoma City Thunder minus 6.5 in the NBA. And then Hurricanes minus 1.5 and the Flyers money line. That is your 4-team parlay of the day. All right. Look, guys, happy Thanksgiving Eve for all of you people out there. Please be careful. Be safe. I will not have a show tomorrow morning. We'll give you guys the day off. I'll try to be back at it Friday morning. But look, enjoy your holidays. Go get some Thanksgiving in. Go get your food on. Today's go for a ride day. Get out there. Go for a ride. Don't drink and drive tonight. It's a busy, busy night for the law. So y'all be careful out there. I'm Jeff Michael. This is Sports with Balls. I'll see you tomorrow.